Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for another episode of Porn Star Confessions. Today I'm super excited. I've got the legendary Adam Russo. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. So unfortunately, our first one didn't get out, but hey, we're going to do it again. And I always love seeing it. So nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So for those of you watching, Adam and I have already done this before, but then the file got corrupted or something happened. So this is take two.
No.
So,
And besides,
all right.
I'm looking at your chest.
So, God, because you don't just do porn, like you're very multifaceted. You do so many things. I don't even know where to start. Like, what do you do now? Because you do porn, tarot, all kinds of shit.
It's kind of bit. I mean, I always have done a lot of different careers. I mean, fashion, interior design, product design, bartended between those things. Was a fine artist, represented the gallery. Of course, the porn career, which is like one of my longest careers, and escorted in between that. And now then the tarot came into being, and also mainstream acting. I started doing some mainstream acting when I was still kind of more involved with porn. So we're working also on a reality show now. We're getting the deck ready. I just talked to the producer yesterday. We're going to talk on Friday about finishing that up and getting that so that we can sell it to. We're looking. He's got connections for Apple, Netflix, and Hulu, so we're looking to sell it there. And so that's going to really grow. We've got a good team for that set up as well. And then I also wrote a script as well for TV, TV show, whatnot. It's about the ascension of the good classic story of good and evil, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, incest, the whole thing. You're gonna love it.
Jesus. When the fuck do you sleep in between all this?
The funny thing is, I mean, it's very funny because my new boyfriend, he's like, how did you do? Because I told him, I said, I just got this done, and before meeting him at the gym, and it was like, how did you get that done? It's like, when I'm motivated, I am like, I just shoot things off. It's like, I know, it's like becomes very, I streamline things. So when I do that, I get things done very quickly, and then I have time to just relax. You know what I mean? And I like being busier because I get more done. When I'm not, it's like, I'll sit in front of the screen jerking off, so or looking for dick or ass, one or the other.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, because if, like, let's say you're not feeling motivated, are you still able to get things done that need to be done?
It's harder when you're not motivated, when like you're just having one of those days, you're just tired and exhausted, and it depends on what needs to be done. Sometimes some stuff is time sensitive, so it has to get done. Other things you can kind of put off for a little bit, and then you can get them done a bit later. But again, it is time sensitive. And when I was, sometimes I was working 3 different jobs, like when I was doing the fashion design and all that. It's like I would just sleep on my studio for like 20 minutes and then get up and start sewing again or working again. So I've done all that shit. Like, I don't want to work that hard again. Let's just put it
How old are you now?
I'm 56.
Damn. Fuck, you look good. All right. So, what was your first job?
My first ever job, working for my father. Slicing deli meat. Mm-hmm. My father had a butcher shop and deli. And so I think, God, how old was I? Maybe 8 years old. Slicing
Oh,
deli.
shit.
Yeah. This was the time. I mean, this is what we did. Kids work. Like, if you didn't have a newspaper route, you did something else. I mean, cutting the grass, whatever it was. My father just happened to have a business, so there you go. These other kids, I just like these other generations, I just don't get it. Like, they're complaining about working. I'm like, honey, all we did was work. What the fuck? And don't get me wrong, we enjoyed our lives. I mean, we had time for ourselves. We went and explored and did our things. So I'm like, just prioritize. Like, you still need to work. I mean, shit needs to get done, because if you don't do it, someone's like, otherwise society collapses. Nobody works. How do you think everything gets done?
Yeah. No, you're right though. Kids today, they think like money falls from the sky, or I don't know. I'm just like, oh God, yeah.
They need to do a little traveling, and then they'll get the priority set pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. No, and just the work ethic. I mean, it's this idea that it have you ever gone to a restaurant or a store or whatever, and the person working there, you can just tell that they resent the fact that they have to work.
Yes, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
like,
And I
dude,
get sometimes
yeah.
people have a bad day, and I understand that. But then there's people that are always miserable. You always go to certain shops, and you're just like that person's just miserable all the time. You know,
Oh,
because we all have bad days. Things happen. I mean, we understand that. Your dog died, or
oh,
your grandmother's sick, or whatever. I get that. That's shit happens. You're just having a bad
yeah.
day. But and then they're like, well, last stages of capitalism. I'm like, well, but sweetheart, the system's not perfect. It is not perfect. It can be reformed, of course. It can be reworked. It's not a perfect system, but it's certainly better than what we've ever had ever in the entire life of human history. So just go back to your feudal times and slavery. I mean, hello. And socialism. Yeah, we already have some socialism here. We have the fire department, police department. We have school. All those things are socialist things. But you start going too far, then you start going into more communism, and that's not great. It hasn't worked.
Mm,
More people have died for communism. I think almost 90 million people.
yeah.
It's not a good setup, sir. And it doesn't, they're like, well, they haven't done it right. No, honey, it's because it sounds great on paper, but the human condition is not that.
Um,
It's not that.
yeah, no. The entire foundation of economics is incentives.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no incentive to do something, people aren't gonna do it, period. That's just human behavior.
Yeah, and they're like, they'll follow their passions, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not. They're going to sit and watch video games. It's already see it.
You are
Like, that's what they're doing. Or they're going to go and, go have sex or something. Like, they're not going to follow. They're not going to say, oh, design a new computer or, barely that's going to happen. There's got to be incentives for this stuff, you know.
yeah,
And there's
absolutely.
only
And
a few people that actually really change the world, that really invent new things to really change the world. There's only a few people that do that for like decade or whatnot. You know.
oh, yeah. No, I mean, like you said, if there's no incentive, most people would, like you said, sit around and play video games or play grab ass or, you know, just like, no, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even just think about in the context of a romantic relationship. If there was no incentive to treating your partner right or to being faithful or to any of that shit, you know what I mean?
Mm.
If you want to go for people who are motivated by an internal compass, moral compass, you're talking about a fraction of a percent of the
Yeah.
population.
Yeah. Yeah. It's people have always had to work anyway. I mean, you just go back a few hundred years, baby, and like you had to make everything. Like you
Hmm.
and if someone didn't, you didn't make it, someone had to make it for you, but there still had to be a barter system. And, it wasn't just like picking it up. Nothing was mechanized. Everything had to be made by hand. So they really have to get a set of sense of this. Yes, we have incredible technologies today that have made things so much easier, but, don't forget where we've come from and still that we do have to work. Because most people, first of all, need something to do. It gives you a feeling of accomplishment, something that you've done. It's important to work towards something. It just is goals, etc. It feeds the soul.
Yeah,
And I know nothing about
absolutely.
slavery, labor, and you're not getting paid enough in that. Yeah, everyone should be paid at least decently for the work they're doing. I mean,
Hmm.
you can't figure that you're going to work at Walmart and make what a doctor's making. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
ridiculous. you know.
true. Well, people a lot of the times too, people don't. It's like that picture of success, the iceberg, where you're only seeing the top 10%. You're not seeing the 90% below the water.
Yeah.
And people will look at like, CEOs or whatever and or brain surgeons be like, oh, this person only works 20 hours a week or this and that. And it's like, yeah, that's where it is now, but you're not seeing the compounding effect of
Right.
every night when you were playing grab ass, they were at home
Yeah.
studying. When you were out with friends, they were, cultivating, relationships with people at school and business, and
Mhm.
they didn't get to have the fun time that
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah.
They forget that. And all those decisions compound over the course of your life. When you're wasting your money on the fucking stupid designer shit they were investing
Yeah.
in.
It takes work and dedication. It really does. And same thing with all the different careers I've changed into. I was very dedicated to them. And it was interesting when the time was changed to move on to something next, I did. But I was always working at the top end of my profession. So,
Mm,
even the fashion world, I was working with Jeffrey Bean and Joan Bass, and I had private clientele. I had private clientele. The interior work, working for the architect, again, very high end clientele. So we were making everything for them, from tiles to fixtures, everything. And working with the craftsmen was great. So, and then, getting represented at the gallery. So, and even with the porn, still able to, like, I've won awards and things like that, and still, well, after a decade and a half, still in this industry. So, but it's work. It's like now I don't really work too much as far as like the porn, but I did a hell of a lot. I mean, I worked my ass and my dick off, getting here, how many shoots, the traveling, the escorting, like, the kept
yeah.
pushing myself out there because, honey, I certainly don't have the biggest dick. I was not the most attractive person. Like, there's certainly lots of other attractive boys, but I made this work because it
Mm,
was business, and decided, to do that.
yeah. Do you think all that work ethic comes from your upbringing and, starting to work at such a young age?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes I've resisted it a bit. Of course, as a young kid, you always do. But I mean, I was helping my grandfather in his garden when he was tilling the soil and doing that. So, like, yeah, we were, like, involved with the process of growing food. We didn't have a farm per se, but we had gardens in the back, and we had my family had lots of different gardens. So you that kind of humbles you, and you understand the process of what the farmers have to go through to make something grow, like what that means. And then the work ethic, they were very strong work ethic. Italian family, pretty much most of my family had their own businesses, and they worked, but they also played hard too. It's like when they had their time off, they gathered, they had food and drink, and every time somebody come over, it was more food and drink. It was like they had a good time. They enjoyed their life as well. They enjoyed, but I also enjoyed the work because they were working towards their goals.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you also learned delayed gratification as well.
Mhm.
That you work first, playtime comes second.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really
So,
important. It really is. I mean, it's funny thing is when I started the porn, it's like my vocation and my avocation have now met.
so what did you do when you turned 18?
When, when I turned out to 18, I pretty much I had already applied for college. I got into Temple University, and as soon as I turned 18, I was like, "Bye, mom. See you later." I don't know. It wasn't like, "Oh, we're gonna stay with the parents' house." Oh no, I was out the door. I was like, I'm raring to go. Like, you ever there's one of those with the little motorcycles you used to rear up with a wheel, and then if we get to a thing, it would go right off. I don't think most people don't remember those things, but I'm sure if you're a certain age, you remember. Um, it was very much like that, just like gearing up and then just ready to go. So I moved in with my father because my parents had split. Both of them had remarried, and I went down to. He was outside of Philadelphia in the suburbs, and so Temple University was in the city. And so I just stayed with him. So and was going back and forth, but I had more independence and freedom. My father didn't really give a shit anyway. What I did it was like, he's a guy, so it's like you do you. And so that was, the more of that freedom and to be in the city. And even though it was Philadelphia at the time, to like just be free and to like experience and do that. it was exciting, you know. So
Uh,
I didn't stay at Temple very long though, because I got there and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? I was always into the arts, and I should have went to Temple Art, and I didn't. I just went to Temple because I told myself I wasn't going to be a starving artist. Little did I know it was going to come out and bite me in the ass anyway. It's like, no, I'm
okay.
here after all. So yeah, that began a whole different scenario, but it was fun.
Okay. So where did you go from there? Because I can understand the starving artist like not wanting to go that route.
Right.
So what was the more pragmatic choice?
Well, it was interesting because after I dropped out of Temple because I didn't know what to do, and I decided, we were living in, I was going to live in the city in downtown Philadelphia, and I did that, got a job waitering, and I'm the worst waiter ever. I'm a very good bartender, but I'm a shitty ass waiter. I dropped a whole bowl of soup on some guy's soup. Yeah, it's great. Um, really bad waiter. But so I got this, and I was like, and then I just had a hard time affording the apartment, and I decided to escort for the first time. And then we didn't have any internet. There was no internet stuff. None of this easy breezy shit we have now. So I went with this person, went through this ad, and the funny thing is, the guy that I hooked up with was in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, became my sugar daddy for quite a few years, like for 4 years. He had a place in New York and a place in Doylestown. We'd go back and forth. The great thing is, like, he was really more of a father figure for me, and I experienced a lot of things I would not have experienced at that time. And I still talk to him this day. We are still friends. We moved down to Miami. In fact, he's still down in I think Fort Lauderdale now. And it's where I learned to bartend. At the time, I wasn't just sitting on my ass. I was also teaching myself how to sew, how to cut clothing, and that. So when I went down to Miami, I went back to school for fashion, and that's where the fashion started. So, yeah, when I graduated, then I went back. Well, took a detour in Kansas City, but then got back to New York and started working. So, yeah, I can't just be idle. So, like I said, when I was with him and he was doing his thing, I was up in the studio making shit and doing stuff. I can't not do anything. It drives me crazy. So,
So why fashion though?
I always had a thing for it. I remember, like, picking up or seeing the Vogue magazines and that, and the artistry, and just it's a sort of escapism, I guess, for it. But I was always in the arts anyway. I was always making things, designing things as a kid. Like, it was always, if I wasn't that during the summer, I was at streams looking for tadpoles and crayfish and all kinds of things. Um, so yeah, it just was a thing that just really got me. And I just really wanted to be in that world. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, no, because everything I've seen of you, you're the last thing that I think of when I think of fashion because you're just like a masculine man's man. Like I don't when I picture fashion, I'm picturing like New York Fashion Week weird shit. I'm not picturing the fucking man's man.
No, and
You know,
and I get you, and that was kind of the thing. It was, even when I was a kid, I started, like, doing more of what we considered women's things. Like, I like to cook and bake, and but my mom always says, like, you're gonna make someone a great husband someday. Well, yeah, I did actually, because I can do all that stuff, and I can still lay tile and do piping and plumbing and everything else. Like, I can do all this shit. I can finish furniture. I can do, like, I with my hands. I create stuff. So, and the thing is, like, you don't have to be. There's no, and then don't get me wrong, because being in the fashion industry, there was a lot more of feminine men, or very, and don't get me wrong, love dressing up. I love dressing up so differently when I was in that world, but still didn't have to be, flaming or femmy, or my voice is still what it is now. Not, I don't know where they sometimes get the voices there. I don't understand it because your mother doesn't talk like that, but somehow they got it. So, and it's not their thing, but it's just, like, I can never quite understand. I'm like, because nobody else talks that way except for gay men. Feminine gay men, I can't figure it out. But anyway, I don't get me wrong. I have friends that have those particular voices, and it's fine. I mean, it's, do you, babe? It's all good. But yeah, it's always been kind of a question of mine how that happens. And so I was always an anomaly to begin with. And being in the fashion world, people would look at me a little different because I didn't quite fit in, but I don't quite fit into anywhere. I don't even fit into the fucking porn world. I don't. Like I know a lot of porn boys, obviously, but I don't really hang out with them. I think there's a couple that I hang out with that are not that have regular jobs as well, like Lance Charger and Zario. Sorry, his last name. I know him by his real name now. Zario Traves. Um, those are like two that I hang out with that I see as consider friends. In fact, I'm seeing Lance or Mike rather this Saturday. We're having dinner with a couple of their friends. But and with all of these things, I never quite fit into any particular group. I can assimilate myself, but I'm always kind of that lone wolf. And now I kind of understand it a little bit better, considering the spirituality. I understand it with that's open from looking back, and also knowing that I'm not an alpha male or a beta male. I'm a sigma male, which makes sense because I stand on my own.
Uh,
Yeah.
Interesting. So, how did you get into fashion though? Because you're the expert. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when I personally think of fashion, like a gay dude telling me he wants to get into fashion, that's kind of like, you know, a kid saying, I want to be a rapper or I want to be a movie star. My first thought's like, yeah, good fucking luck.
Well, like I said, I started doing it when I was with my sugar daddy. I started really honing in on skills. Like I was teaching myself how to, really. I already knew how to sew because my mom had taught me. So when I was with her or at home, I would make some robes and things like that. But when I was deciding to do this, I was going more on a professional level. Like I was looking at, I had a book on couture and how that was made, and really learning pattern making and things like that. So I really dedicated that. So when I went to school, decided to go back to school in Miami, I already had a bit of that under my belt, and so I was learning more there at school. At the end of my year there, I won Air France was having a contest, a worldwide contest, and if you won, well, first of all, and the people that got picked would show their dress at the Louvre, which we did, and if you won the first prize, you got a year spending in Paris, learning in Paris, which would be very different. I didn't get that far, but I did get to show my dress in the Louvre, so that was cool. So when that happened, it was great. It was put great on for the resume. Graduated, and then took a side note with a go-go boy in Kansas City because I wanted to see a bit of the Midwest before going back to New York. When I went back to New York, I just started putting out my resume. Hooked up with Jeffrey Bean. Somebody was there. Was like, I come in. We want you, but we want you at first at the boutique, and which was right around the corner from Jeffrey Bean's office. And so that's where all the the wealthy clients come in. Because this is the closest thing that we have to couture was Jeffrey Bean. And the director kind of put me under his wing. I learned more about the business, started a little more designing there, also starting with the clientele. When the director left, I went with him. Well, I went to Joan Vass as well, which is another higher end knit maker. And she did cut and sew as well, but she was known more for her knits. And started working for her as well. And then Timothy left Jeffrey Bean, and we started working together with the high end clientele and started making the clothing, altering their clothes and that. So I'm in these women's boudoirs, like very expensive house. I mean, one of them, Sutton Place, the double apartment, chauffeurs, the whole thing. It's like it's a whole different world, whole different world. Like you're talking about these people have castles in Scotland and like houses all over the world, and it's just it's crazy. We're talking like big ass money. They're getting portraits done, and like I had made some clothing for that, and like I was there watching my client get painted, and it's a whole friggin' different world. It's $1 billion, the $1 billion class, and it's kind of cool. And some of them, like some of the children that I worked with, that were not really children, but they're children, like, that in their 30s, 40s. Some of them were spoiled brats. Some of them were nice, because they grew up with the silver spoon in their mouth and didn't know any better, than anything else. So they think the world particularly caters to them, and I guess really in some sense it does because money talks, right? So
Yeah, it's very true. I don't know. I've personally known quite a few trust fund babies. You could not give me all the money in the world to switch places with them.
I don't blame
Fuck
you. I don't
that.
blame you. I don't blame you because there's no sense of reality, and they instead of using the money that they have to do something progressive or good, or even just a foundation, put your time into something worthwhile, you know, and and some of them do. Don't get me wrong. There's some that do. They make their money grow. They'll they have a better edge, but a lot of them just spend it, or they're just fucking assholes, and it's like all about like, oh, I just bought the new Prada bag or Gucci bag, and I'm flying off the realm. Okay, great, fantastic for you, and
Yeah.
you know,
Did you enjoy that work though?
uh,
Doing all
did
that?
it because I love the fashion aspect of it. Working in the fashion, the industry. I was gonna try. I tried putting out my own line. It was just I was underfunded, unfortunately. But I enjoyed part of that world, and part of it was very gossipy. Part of it is I never saw myself as sort of a servant in that way. I mean, you're getting paid to do the work you do, but it's still it depends on which clients you were working for. Thankfully, most of my clients were cool. I had one client. She and her husband were just had really worked up to nothing. I mean, they were at the time I think becoming billionaires, and she was amazing because she had worked for it. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't
Yeah.
like this idea of like she just came from it. No, she worked for it, so she had a very different attitude about her and the people around her, and it showed, and it was so much it's refreshing, really. You know.
Yeah. So how long did you do all that for?
How long was I doing that for? I got back to New York around the late like 94, I guess, 93, 94. And I was working in the fashion industry until 1999, I guess. So yeah, I was doing it for a while because then I and my other partner, I decided to get out of the fashion industry and kind of not knowing what to do. There was no plan after that. Started bartending full time at the Monster Bar. And this is the thing, and this is one of the reasons why I kind of went out of the industry because I was working my ass off and I was barely making any money. And you're living in New York. I think it's a little expensive. It's
Yeah.
always has been expensive. It keeps getting more expensive, but it was still expensive then. And as a young designer into that, you don't make much money, so you got to always figure ways like you got to have always side hustles. And so I just like got tired of the bullshit, and then decided to bartend. And the funny thing is, bartending at the Monster, I made more money than I ever had before doing the work that I love, which really was a fuck you kind of thing, because I'm a good bartender, but I don't like bartending for the most part. Like, I was working in a bar that we were making. I would line up 13 cocktails at one time and start and then like I'm quick at what I do. This is one of the things is like I get things done quickly, and that's that same thing. So when I'm on, it's boom 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 boom. So when I cook and things like that, like cooking for dinner party and whatnot, same thing. It's like I'm very organized, and that's just how my brain works. So I get things done very efficiently, and I did the same thing here. But when I'm in that zone, I'm not exactly the friendliest person because I'm here. I'm thinking. I'm my mind's going. Not like, hey, how you doing? But no, it's like, let's get drinks out, or get this done, get this done. And so I become very business mode. And when I'm with people, especially like partners in that, they know I'm in the zone when that happens. They get it's a little off-putting first the first time if they see it, and I'm like, babe, I'm in a zone right now. This is work zone, so it's a very different thing. But all my mind, my mental capacity is going to getting things done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So when you first escorted, that was before you met the sugar daddy, and I'm assuming you stopped when that
He was
happened?
the first client I had and the last I had until the point.
Shit. Wow.
First and last, that was it. Until much later along.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, talk about synchronicity because there's no coincidences. It's all synchronicity. And I was like, you thinking back in now, it was like, of course it would happen that way because, my guys in the university didn't want me like escorting. So they found me the exact person to be with. Like,
Okay.
and it was mutual. It was like this thing where he was like, and don't get me wrong, he was 25 years older than me. I think I was maybe 20. And, he was 25, but he didn't look like I look now. Like he was not in the best of shape, but he was kind of like this father figure. And we barely had sex to begin with, but it was more about companionship and, I guess me being on his
Mhm.
arm, etc. But, we had a good time because I listened a lot when he was talking because he had a lot of interesting things to say. I learned a lot. I mean, I'm a big foodie, and of course, we went out dining in all these great restaurants. Went up over to Europe as well. I would not have been able to do that at that time on my own. And so I experienced a lot that I could not have experienced before. And very thankful for those experiences. I am. I guess it's one of the
Wow.
reasons why we still communicate every once in a while. So he's on my Facebook, and occasionally we pass a pass an email to each other.
Wow. No, I'm glad that was such a good experience. You really won the lottery in that regard. What made you pick bartending? Why didn't you try escorting again? What about bartending? Like, what was it?
Well, I didn't want to go down in that path because again, I still was in the hopes of becoming a designer of some sort, and that didn't quite fit the narrative. You know what I mean? Especially then. Porn didn't finish the narrative. All that. I mean, nowadays it's like everybody and their mother's trying to do OnlyFans, but like it's a whole different story. And then you didn't do that. That would have been a kill. Like it would have destroyed everything. And so bartending was the next best bet because again, I had already been bartending in Miami because my sugar daddy bought a bar down there, small bar, right on Miami when it was still changing. I mean, Versace soon moved in and all that, and so I got to see Miami change. And Miami was cool back then; it really was. Now it's kind of like a Vegas.
Um,
Vegas with a beach. But then it was kind of cool. It was upcoming. There was a lot of models. There was a lot of things interesting going on. There was a lot of Jewish men and ladies sitting right on Ocean Drive in their aluminum chairs. Very different, very different. They're very different look. And the beach was still quiet. It was just busy enough, It wasn't a fucking
yep.
shit show like it is now. Um, so the bartending made sense to go back into bartending and do that and to make money because it is quick money. It's cash money. You get the money when you start. It's not like having to
Yep.
wait 2 freaking weeks to get paid, that kind of thing. So it made the most sense. I'm also very much about time and money issues. Like that's also the reason why I also work quickly when I'm having to do something to
Yeah.
streamline it if I can, because time is money. It's like I don't want to keep plodding along and just working because I also want my rest time. I also want to enjoy myself. I want to go out. I want to meet friends. I want to have sex. I'm like, I want to do other stuff,
Yeah.
but I also want to pay my bills and have money to go spend to go out. Those kind of things. So it was the best avenue to go. And then I met my new partner there as well. That relationship was 13 years. Um,
Jesus.
Yeah, and so during that time working as a bartender is when I thought about doing the interior design. That's why I started putting out resumes. Hadn't gone to school for that particularly, but every artistic venture is kind of the same. It's like light, color, and proportions, all of that kind of stays the same. Learning a new language in each design field is a little different. And this architect hired me. And the first 3 months of working there, I came home with a fucking migraine every night because there was so much information I was like packing into my brain in that space to get everything done. Learning a whole new language and everything else, and because this was, he was already working with high end clientels who were like, buying from Sotheby's, Christie's. They were making things. Then we switched offices and got this brand new office, which was great. And the amount of money that was spent on these people, but you needed to cross your T's, dot your I's. I mean, if you fucked up, it could cost a lot of money, and somebody's neck is on the line. So you learn real quickly to the details of things. You make sure that everything is done properly. So there can be no mistakes. And if there are, like we had one client, we were having these rugs made, and they were going. It was for runners for the stairs, big grand staircase, and it was this beautiful rug. They were making them in Nepal, koi fish kind of a pattern, gorgeous rug. All the settings of the sizes were sent to them. I helped on the design, but the sizes and everything else were done by the architects because they already had the plans for the stairs. Well, the weavers made a mistake, so when they were laying it, it was off. And we of course had we all of our stuff was correct. Like we went through everything. It was good. So that portion of the rug had to be remade again because there's no way of cutting it. It has to be remade, that entire section, because the staircase wrapped around, and so that part of the staircase had to be redone. So, and that's a big time, money. You're talking about a huge piece and custom made. Yeah.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, beautiful carpet. It was beautiful carpet.
Damn.
Yeah. So.
Did you enjoy interior design?
I did. I would go get into work, and I would be so busy and doing all my shit, and then I look up. It's like it's time for lunch. I'm like, what did they just? And like go to lunch, come back, and then it's time to leave. Like and I love that because it was so busy. The time was just flying by. You're just so engaged with the work, and it's exciting because you're working on different projects, creative projects. You're getting all kinds of different things done, and I love that because I'm again working as quickly as possible. Like, and it's funny because working in an office, we had a receptionist, and my God, and she wasn't this old woman. Made it look like she was being busy the entire time, and I could tell like she's not doing shit. Like she's busybody work, and I'm like, and I'm hustling my ass off, but I'm enjoying it. I love that kind of stuff. If I'm passionate about something, I love doing it. So,
do you think you'll ever retire completely?
No. I think that's a death sentence. I think it's a death sentence.
Yep. We're in agreement on that. So, okay.
I think, retirement may look different for me. Maybe it'll be, because there's other art things I want to do. So maybe I'll be taking up stained glass or something or doing something in that art world. It'll be something. I can't imagine myself just not doing anything. Playing golf. Why not play golf? Miniature golf, maybe. That would be fun. But yeah, and even traveling. I love traveling. Like I was just away for 2.5 weeks, but I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back home now. Like, I'm just ready. I like doing something. I like goals. I like feeling like I'm motivated to do something or putting my mind and my energy towards something. And that's exciting to me. I like to be in those realms. And I have to say, during the spiritual part of several years, the universe had me just sort of sitting here and bored as hell. I'm like, and I'm talking to my guys. I'm like, can I just get a bartending job? They're like, no. Can I do that? Like, no. I'm like, and don't get me wrong, my bills are paid and everything else, but I'm just like bored.
Dude, I know the feeling all too well. Fuck that. No. And I think that having a purpose is one of the key components to being happy and being fulfilled in life.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And, especially for gay men who, most of us do not have children. A couple of us do, but most of us do not. And, we have friends, of course. But, children, no matter how old they are, that's still a very central part of other people's lives. It really is. And then they have grandchildren. It becomes very much part of their life. So, when you're dealing with, gay men, yeah, the friendships, of course, some traveling, but I really think we need more of a, purpose, because again, even like a grandmother, say, will have, be thinking about the grandchildren, like wanting to help raise them, wanting to be there. It's kind of like, it's still kind of a work kind of thing, taking care of something, wanting something to prosper. Um, but, and those people who do not usually wind up, not very happy, or sort of getting ill and dying, because if you're sitting down all the time, your bones get weaker, and that's been scientifically studied. If you're not working out, your bones get fragile, and you fall, you broke a hip now, or whatever. It's like not a great idea. The body's meant to move, so and I understand if you can't move like you used to when you were younger, but you still need to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so speaking of working out, for those of you watching this video, Adam's physique is like, oh dear God, impressive. When did that all start?
The physique, oh my god.
Yeah, like working out, bodybuilding, whatever you want to
I
call it.
started working out, I guess, when I was 15 years old. I bought some dumbbells, and the ones filled with sand. This is like ages and ages ago.
Oh my God, I remember those.
So I got, I think they were like 15 pounds or something. I don't remember. And I started working out with those. And the reason what got that involved is because MTV. There was all these shirtless guys and like sexy, and of course you had these bodies. Now of course I'm like 15 years old. I'm not a man yet. I'm transitioning into one. But I was like, oh, like started wanting to work out and like wanted to look like them, and then realized that I also wanted to touch them and suck them and everything else. But but so when I was going to we had gym class, I think twice a week. But one was a swim. We had a swimming pool, and then we had calisthenics and all that. We had gym equipment in the back. So I would do that. I wasn't great about sports. I don't like basketball, football, and all that, the basic sports. But I loved working out, being active, tennis, things that were maybe more one-on-one kind of thing. And so I started doing that. I mean, I was always riding my bike anyway. And as I then transferred over to like being more on my own after high school, and that joined a gym, started working out there. Still not getting to the level as I did as I got older. It was like it was a progression. I had a decent body, but I was engaged in all the things that I was doing, going to school. I was doing fashion. I was doing this. When I went and took the foray into Kansas City right after graduation with the Go-Go Boy, I wound up go-go dancing, and my body didn't quite look like it does now, but it was a young boy's body. I mean, it worked. Obviously, I got tips and everything else. So, and then I kept working out through all of these things. Again, bartending, making sure I was still working out. It wasn't until we moved to Pacifica outside of San Francisco that I put more time in. And remember, I'm also getting older. So as you get older, the body starts changing. It starts, it really does change. It depends on how old you are. Your 20s, depending on how much time you effort you put in, but your body does start changing as you get older. And so I was working out quite a bit, like pretty much every day, I think 5 days a week. And my partner really wasn't working out as much at the time, but I was, and I got to a certain plateau. The body looked great, and that's when I started escorting and working for Titan Media, etc. So I had a good physique, but I wasn't any more than 154 pounds, and I'm like 5'9". So that was, and it hit plateau. It wouldn't get any bigger. Just wouldn't get any bigger. Now I realized, I mean, we ate well, but I hit that plateau. So when we finally moved down here to LA, I figured I need to up my game. And of course, I knew these boys were doing steroids. I knew a lot of boys that were doing steroids. I mean, you could tell. I mean, you don't get that big without some kind of enhancement. So I didn't want to do it earlier because I didn't want to rely on it. I also knew the effects on your body could be not so great. And I finally went to a friend of mine who was also in porn, who knew the shit back and forth. very intelligent guy. Like he tell you exactly what everything's going to do. Like memorizes everything. And I said to him, listen, I said, I want to do a cycle. I said, but this is the look I want. I want a collegiate look, tight, but still like bigger. And he said, okay, I want you to take this and this. And so I did. Did I do 2 cycles then? I think I did about 2 cycles. And it moved me into another weight category. It got me to like 165. So a good 10 pounds on. And that's where a lot of my photos you'll see from like Icon Male and that in that look. And I didn't do another cycle for another 10 years. I just did one a few years ago, working out with a buddy. And he's like, I want to do a cycle. And I'm like, oh, God, if you're going to be doing a cycle, I'm going to have to do one too, because now you're going to be pushing more weight. So we both went on the cycle. I told my doctor, I said, hey, I'm doing this. He said, we'll check your thing. Well, I have a gay doctor, so they're like, whatever. We'll do that. Fine. I went on. It jumped me up into the 170 level. So now I just put another extra 10 pounds on. And I was like, okay. So I stayed there for a while. And then the only thing is I just recently did only just added tren. Why? Because I wanted my legs a little thicker. But of course, when you do it, everything else gets a bit bigger. But I did two leg workouts a week to get it bulkier. And it kind of worked. I mean, I did it for a while off of it. And that will probably be the last cycle I do probably for a very long time. I'm at the weight. I'm fine. I'm still now around 180 pounds, which I think is good. And if I can maintain it, which I am, it's just making sure I eat enough and, keep the exercise. But it has been a journey of that. So I didn't start those steroids until until I was into my 40s. I think it's just you have to be careful with this stuff. And that's why I also contact my doctor, and have him check everything, because you're playing with fire with this shit. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you can keep relying on it, like some people get hooked on it, they can't get off of it. They're like, because they like that pump look, and they're like, no, I feel deflated, It's like because when you get a bit bigger, people are like, oh, you're looking really good. Look, and the compliments will start coming in more.
Yeah.
And they want that validation. And I'm like, no, because I just like when I look in the mirror, I can see the proportions. But I wouldn't have done another cycle if it wasn't because of my friend. It wasn't even on my mind.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I think you made the right choice in waiting to do it too, because I was 34 when I did my first one. So, yeah, no, because when you see some of these 18-year-old kids getting on shit, I'm just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need steroids. You need a gallon of milk a day.
Yeah, it's just and then it's rely on it, and they're going to continue those, continuously through the life. It's just not good. It can be very harmful. And people, even Arnold Schwarzenegger had a heart attack. Most likely, it's related to steroid use in his younger days. It's not good. And there's a myriad of other things that could possibly happen as well, because it's fucking with everything in your system. And also not just your muscles are growing, but also your organs are growing. And that's you need to see the steroid belly kind of thing that also happens, and that you have to be really careful of as well, because it's not like you want to keep it tight. You want to keep yourself tight, but the only thing is everything else starts growing when you're doing this. Like you're not obviously working out, your liver here, and you're getting, like everything is just growing on its own. Tighten yourself up like a cow. So you have to be careful with the shit. You really do. Plus, then of course, some people it affects their skin, and which can be really bad. They're all breaking out all over the place. I'm like, honey, that's not attractive. It's not attractive.
Yeah,
not good.
No, I've been there.
Yeah.
So, do you still do interior design, or do you walk away from that?
No, I don't do any. I mean, I design. My own place is done, but I don't do any interior design for anybody else. The artwork, I did one commission for somebody quite a few years ago. It's like that to me is kind of done right now. I mean, I do stuff for myself. Like I'll make stuff for myself if I need it, and do some alterations, etc. But that no, because right now we're concentrating on the reality show, concentrating on the tarot, moving in that direction. And again, eventually we'll do some more art again, absolutely. But now is not the time. Like today, I'm filming with this boy, this new boy here in LA. He's a little otter. It's like I love my military otters. Like they're going to be a fun time. You just know they're going to be a fun time.
Oh, I personally, I don't know. Personality is the most important, but
Well, absolutely.
I'll take you over an otter any day of the week. That's
But
just me.
don't get me wrong. It's just like something like I've filmed with everything I do. I love muscular guys. You know, it's a wide variety. I'm not too much into the twink thing. Absolutely, it's not really my thing. Um, but I have done some videos with twink on my own. Not for studio is a whole different thing, but on my own I have. But usually it's just guys that are just guys. I mean, like I would obviously film with you in a heartbeat, and I filmed with like guys of your proportions and tattoos, whatever. I love it. It's all good. It's fantastic. Every color reading. Asian, black does not matter. Sexy is sexy. So I actually my new
Absolutely.
boyfriend's a ginger. So yeah,
All right.
ginger boyfriend.
So, so how did all the porn and everything come about?
Well, when I was in Pacifico with the 13-year partner, I was working at the as a bartender in the Castro, and I was representing the gallery. But unless you're selling your shit for like $100,000 a pop, and it's got to be selling, of course. You're not going to be making that much money. There's a lot of time and effort into it, and it was going for quite a few $1,000s. But in rep with the gallery gets half of that. So and I did sell pieces, but again, this is not something that at this point was I making boo bucks off of. So I was bartending. The economy took a turn. The bar did some messed up stuff, so we were losing some customers. I forget what they did exactly, but the business started going down a bit, and everybody was losing their jobs from jobs I already had, like interior design, things like that. So people were getting laid off. So it wasn't exactly I could go back to those things, and I hadn't been in them in a while. So who was going to get hired first? The guy that just got fired, or me? So I thought like, well, escorting. At this point, I had my ex and my 13-year had an open relationship. I was getting more involved with sex. I was trying to bottom more because I wanted to have sex with my partner. We weren't having sex anymore, and he was a top before I met him. I figured if I just can learn how to bottom, at least I can have sex with him. That didn't work out the way I thought, but I did understand that I really do like bottoming, so I made up lost time for that. Yeah, but again, that wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be a bottom. I'm like, no, it was for a particular reason. To have sex with my now ex. This is the reasoning. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to decide to bottom now. Nope, I had no thing to bottom except for that. That was the goal. And so then it became like, oh, I actually enjoy this. Once I got through learning, because I would have tried to find some big dicks because my partner had a big ass dick. He's Puerto Rican. And so I would like get these guys, and I'd be like, before they come, I'd be like doing shots of tequila just to sort of like relax myself. To do this. And it worked, of course. So when this time happened, and there were like, things were turning around, I'm like, you know what, I might have to escort again. The first time I did it many, many years ago. And I started floating the idea around to my partner, to some of my friends, as jokingly. And then I finally said to him, I said, listen, I think I should escort because we need the money. We have expenses. And he begrudgingly said yes. And so the first client I had was in San Francisco downtown. Went over to this place, sat down on the couch, had a glass of wine with him, talked a bit, took me to his bedroom, gave me a full massage back and front, and blew me, and then gave me money. And I was like, almost felt like I owed him money. Because I got a massage, I got blown, and I got wine. I'm like, so I went out, went back to the car, and as soon as I went back to the car, I got another text that somebody else wanted me, and it was kind of like in the same area. So I went down, and remember, I'm not Adam Russo at this time. Nobody knows who the fuck I am. So I went down. There's this black guy, a little bit of heavy set in a hotel, and he was so excited to see me. again, I was never I'm not Adam Russo at this point, and he was so excited to see me. He kind of dry fucked me, came, handed me even more money than I had asked for, and so I came in with this wad of cash, and I'm going, yeah, I think I can do this. So I figured then from there, I figured, well, let's up, the exposure for the escorting, and let's start doing the porn because my whole mindset had changed at this point about sex,
Mhm.
escorting. I grew up, when I came out, AIDS was hitting the front newsstands. So that kind of changes your idea of sex and everything else for quite a while. Not just me, but for many people at the time. So that was changing, that whole idea, they found the right drug for people that are HIV positive to, for their cell counts, to be off all that. And so that it started changing. So I was kind of relaxed about it. And I started working with Titan Media only because somebody didn't get on the plane and they were like, "Are you available?" And I'm like, "Sure." Started working for them. That's how that started. And I was right
Wow.
in San Francisco at the time. So yeah. So and
Jesus.
working for one of the best studios. It's like, it was like, but that's kind of how my life is. It's like I usually wind up working for like a top echelon of whatever I'm going.
Huh.
So yeah, and it was an adventure.
And what was that first experience like?
Oh God, I think this is the one. Yeah, it was with the black boy. Can't remember his name. In fact, I think he didn't last long in the industry. Uh, got there, and it was an experience because remember, I took a Viagra. They're like, here, take some Viagra. I'm like, okay. I'm like 42 at this point, somewhere around there. Okay, and then we had to do the photos, and I'm like trying to get hard at photos. I mean, we're talking a fucking studio. Studios are very unsexy things. You have lots of people walking around. It's like there's this environment is not sexy at such. So you have to kind of try in your mind to make this sexy, or maybe your partner will help you out, maybe blow you a little bit or whatnot. Um, Get through the photos, the stills, just us personally, maybe together for their boxes and everything else. And then now we're going to start the scene. Okay, great. Start the scene. And of course, it's very scripted. What we're going to do, what positions we're going to do, how long we're going to do them. And it's like everyone, like lights, lots of lights. Again, not very sexy. People all dressed. People with big cameras in your up in your face. And you're trying to make this happen in your mind. And it was kind of working out. We were going to flip fuck. And so it came to my turn to fuck him. And I was hard because the Viagra was working, but I got hard, but I couldn't get in his ass. Like he was so tight. And I'm losing my heart on because of it. And the guys were like to the boys, like, when was the last time you got fucked? And they're like, he's like, a year ago. I'm like, a year ago. Okay. So what they did was they gave me a shot of Bimex, my first experience with that stuff. And I'm like nervous. I'm like, what is this shit? Like, what is it? You want to put a needle? I'm like, and I'm like, okay, just do it, just so we can get the scene over. And I'm like, very nervous about this. I don't know anything about this shit. First time I'm hearing about it. They do the shot, and man, my dick has never been as hard. I could have drilled rocks. Let's put it that way. So his ass had no, like it was going in his ass no matter what. So it went boom right in. And of course we're working with condoms now too because remember this was in bareback at the time. And if you were doing bareback, you were shunned by the other studios. You know the story now, of course. And so finally fucked him. He's like, okay, it's time to come now. Okay, great. Everything's pre-scripted. Yay, never gonna come. So I'm like trying to come because again, this very unsexy environment. In my mind, I said, "Can you sit on my face?" And like put on my face, and with his ass in my face, I was like fucking just shot all over. It was like, fine, did it, accomplished, yay, done scene. But it's a lot. It's grueling. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of time. You know, it's not an easy thing. I mean, these boys that have just done OnlyFans or just fans and have never done anything else, honey, that's a walk in the park. I mean,
Yeah.
you have no idea. You have no fucking idea. Like, my longest scene was
Yeah.
12 hours. And it was two of us, and I was fisting this boy. 12 hours. 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because OnlyFans scenes, those take what, an hour, two tops?
Hour tops if you're like, I mean, mine are like 30, sometimes 40 minutes, and that's just from set to go, boom, done. I mean,
Mhm.
and that's just to get footage, just so we're fine.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, that's like nothing, and
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, but it's like, it makes it easier because you're picking the people you want. And even so, sometimes you ever get a guy, it's like, looks great, you haven't seen him yet, you haven't met him in person, and he gets there and you're like, maybe this is a great idea, but we're gonna have to make it work since you're here. I'm sure you've had that. I'm sure
Oh, yeah.
we all.
But to be fair, I've also had the opposite be true, where I've looked at someone's Twitter
Uh,
and assumed they were going to be dumb as a post, and then I'm like blown away because they're super intelligent and charismatic, and so it goes both directions.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've had some extraordinary, really good times, and a lot of times what happens is, we're filming for the camera, and which is great. We do our thing, and then after the camera's done, if the guy's not has to be anywhere at the time, we'll fuck again. And this time it's just he and I without the fucking cameras. So it's just different. It always is different with the camera. I just always know the camera's there. Like it's still it's natural as it's going to be, but there is still always a sense of performance with it because there's a camera there. Like
Hmm.
yeah, I mean it just is.
Yeah. I don't think, like, people who've never done it, they don't truly appreciate that. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you're having sex, you're not having sex. If there's a camera rolling, you are going to act different. Period. End of story.
Yeah, yeah. You do. It's just you because it's that's whole thing of like science. There's a whole thing about the observing something changes it. So
Hmm.
that's kind of what happens. You can't get away from the thought that there's somebody there. And don't get me wrong, I know my camera guy, and he's very unintrusive because they go around us, but I still
Yeah.
know he's there. And I still know that this is for somebody watching at home. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm just whispering in somebody's ear, like some dirty talk, they can't hear that, you
Yeah.
know? So there has to be a little
Absolutely.
bit more, volume needs to be a little bit more up. It has to be a little bit. Positions need to be more interesting. Sometimes you get into things, and I go for the moment. It is at the moment. It's very real, but it's still the thought of what's going on. So
Yeah.
in person, just like when the camera leaves and I'm there, I'm just trying to get the guy to orgasm if I'm fucking him, which means most likely he's going to be in the missionary position, and I'm just like, well, I
Yeah.
love to see his eyes and like his ass open up and like pleasing him because it gets me off even more. And I can sometimes do it with the camera guy, but not always because again, does he feel as comfortable as well to open up? Because he also knows there's a camera there.
Yeah, that's the biggest one is even if you're able to mostly ignore it, the other person, maybe not.
Yeah, and especially some new guys, they may look at the camera, but they look like like Mike Gates looks at the camera, but he looks at it like you want to be here, don't you? That's like his gaze. But like some of these boys are like look like deer in headlights. I'm like, sir, don't look at the camera unless you have an intention to look at like you're looking into the camera, like you're talking to this person, because otherwise you look like a deer in headlights.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. So, what do you attribute your longevity in porn to? Because you've been around a long
That's
fucking time.
my tenacity, I guess. I don't know. That's a really good question. Again, I don't have the biggest dick. I don't obviously not the most attractive guy. Like I don't really know. I mean, people enjoy what I produce. I think it's more of my energy towards it. I think more so than anything else. I mean, this combination of all those things, um, tenacity. Just like when I was escorting and traveling over the world, I would contact the studio and say, "Hey, I'm here. Do you want to film? Like, since you don't have to fly me out or anything, yeah, let's do it. Okay, great." So that helped my PR and kept putting my name out there. Um, I know a sense of marketing that you have to keep putting yourself out there. You have to keep going. You have to keep, I don't know if I like, I mean, I have reinvented myself, but on different levels, not exactly in the porn level. I don't know. I mean, my body has changed. I mean, I used to trim my hair. I've gotten older, of course, but I've also let my hair go, so I've gotten hairier. Um, that I think changes. I guess it's the energy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think you'd have to ask somebody who's watching me more so because it's hard to understand that because I'm me and I can't get out of my own skin to look at it. You know what I mean? Um, because we perceive things. Like I'm always thinking I haven't done enough yet. But like when I look back, I've done all this, these careers and all this shit, but I don't take that into mind. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always looking what's next, like how to move forward.
Yeah.
And it,
I mean,
it's just different.
I think a lot of it's your consistency.
Mm, yeah, I could say that. The tenacity.
Because, I mean,
Keep going.
yeah, a lot of people just kind of do this
Mm,
where success is actually there.
yeah. I mean, you do have to keep going at it. I mean, that's whatever business you're in. I mean, you have to keep producing. You have to keep trucking along with it because otherwise, and also changing. If the environment changes, you have to change with it. Like we have now the fans pages, so you had to Greg go into that. Um, Instagram I don't really use as part of a marketing tool because again, I'm not really trying to make a name for myself, nor am I trying to really hold on to the porn thing. I mean, I love doing it. I'm still doing it. But until the rest of the reality show and that takes off, I'm still very much involved in it. So I'm working towards other
Yeah.
things, but this is still where I'm making a lot more of my money. So it just makes sense. People are like, oh, you should do stuff in other locations and that. I said, I mean, but also if they're paying attention to so much of what the place looks like, they're not concentrating on the sex. Like I had to say that. I mean, granted, it's nice to have a nice new look and things. I said, but also even the way I film now, because the way we film in a dark room, pretty much with just the light, it only concentrates on us. Like the room to me is not that important, nor do I think it's really
Yeah.
important for the rest of the people, because I'm not really telling a story here like a fairy tale story. This is sex. This is a scene. We're enjoying two guys enjoying the moment with each other. And getting
Yeah.
on that. So and again, if people are like, oh, you should do produce stuff for studios and that, which yeah, I could, but I have no desire to. Like, because there are people that produce, that do the directing and everything else and sell it to the other studios, and I have no desire to do that. I'm not passionate about it, so I'm not going to do it. I have to be passionate about what I'm doing, and it's the tarot, it's the reality show. That's where the passion lies now. I mean, I still like
Yeah.
the porn, but this is the new passion because this is also like the reality show is helping people help themselves. It's because it's about spirituality, it's about helping people. That's the new go to. That's where
Yeah.
the passions are lying. So yeah.
So, how did all of that come about? The tarot and the reality show and all this and that.
uh, Very dark night of the soul was the first breakup with my now ex. Not the 13-year, another one who's also started doing porn. I'm not even going to mention his name. Um, I was always in the tarot. I always had somebody read my cards twice a year. I didn't read at the time, and so I would get one on my birthday, one like at the New Year, just sort of seeing what's going on. And when this guy broke up with me during my 50th birthday, by the way, on my 50th birthday, it's great. I also lost my older BMW too, because some girl came out of the driveway too fast and smashed it. So it was a great day. 50th birthday, fucking fantastic. I'll never forget it in my life. And so he broke up with me at that point, and we moved out. We were still kind of close with each other, still trying to get it to work. At least I was. And I was going through a dark night of the soul. Like I was like a living zombie. I couldn't sleep more than 3 hours a night for like 3 months, lost weight. It was friggin' awful. But instead of going to drugs and alcohol and all that, I went into more the spiritual realm. I had the guy Raphael read cards and help me through this. I started meditating more, and this is where all the spiritual awakening started going through it, like of the interesting experiences I've had over the years. started to really manifest themselves. And it's been quite a journey. It really has been, even up until like this past trip I just took was also a spiritual journey, and something very interesting happened during that trip as well. It was just all good. But I've had some very interesting experiences along the way. And it was forming. I was still trying to be with him, and I wasn't healed yet when he came back. And it was funny. It was a night he was go-go dancing at one of the bars, and I knew the night when I was out that he would not be there. It was not his night to dance, because I was not trying to see him. I didn't want to see him. So I was out, and certainly enough, one of the go-go boys didn't come in, and he wound up taking this shift. And I looked at him, I was like, oh fuck, he's here, and I started walking out, and he ran up and started, I want to talk to you. Can you wait till my shift's done? And I'm like, okay, fine. So he came out, and he's like, and then all the bullshit started, and he's like, well, I really feel different about you, and I love you, and blah blah blah, and this all feels right, and I'm going, again, I'm not healed yet, I'm not finished healing, and I bought into it. Just an opportunist, narcissist. He was using me because he couldn't afford his apartment, basically. Moved in very quickly soon after, yeah, and basically when he found his person to replace me, and I just put that in quotations, replace me, basically said he soon checked out after we got back together again, even though it was about another year and a half that we'd been together. This is the person I thought I was going to marry. Yeah. So I remember this saying, it's like, I just want to do circuit parties and drugs. Oh, lifetime goals. Lifetime goals. Okay, great. Don't get me wrong. You can have a good time. I mean, and the thing is, we used to, we went out, we traveled the world. Like, it wasn't like we were home knitting. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, but like telling you checked out as soon as after we got back together. And I told him, I said, this is not going to be the same break as before, because I was chasing him. I was wanted him back. And again, had me believing the whole thing again, and just a fucking narcissist opportunist. And I was like, okay, all right. Now, very different story. He tried to come back in again, and I wasn't having it because he was still with this person and that. And I'm like, no. I was like, you, when you're done lying to yourself and everybody else, let me know. But I was like, no. And now it's been years, and really, it's been a very interesting area, because of course, my cards tell me what I need to know, but then I also get hearing things from the actual world, people that have been around telling me things, and I don't ask because I don't give a shit. Like, I don't want to hear them, I don't want to see them, I don't want anything with them. Like, I'm beginning new cycles have begun. I've got a new boyfriend. I've got like new things happening, and even during that time when I healed, I had to heal and whatnot. I still didn't want to hear about him. I didn't want to see him, be around him, nothing. And then it was still information. Like, other people would say, well, they're talking about you, this and that. And like, but I don't believe what they're saying. And I'm like, well, thank you. So they were still talking about me. Like, can't you just go away? Can't you just go away? Like, why is my life so important to you? Just go away. You left, leave. Just stay away, both of you. But yeah. And the other one's a bit of a cycle. I have to say this again. I'm not naming any names. But yeah, just crazy shit. And the thing is, like, when this first happened, I was like, what the fuck, and everything else. But now I'm so glad that the universe showed me who exactly he is, because I'm glad the universe took him out, because that's not a person that you want in your life. That's not the kind of person you want in your fucking life. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Sometimes you don't realize that when it's happening, but no.
Yeah, it's got to be a famous quote, but where I heard it from was a client, and I'll remember this until the day I die. But he said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck.
Yep. And it's funny because there were signs, obviously. I mean, but I was so in love. Okay, there's also a thing called twin flames. I don't know how many people know this, but twin flames is a term, a spiritual term. Is you have a contract with each other. You're coming down here to work with each other. The thing is, twin flames will actually mirror each other, And what they'll do is they'll activate each other to go through a spiritual awakening or to change. And usually it's more the feminine energy, which would be me, changed first. He refused to. In fact, he went down the dark path, started doing all kinds of drugs and everything else. Went down the dark path with the psycho. And I changed and went this way. Now, not all twins will be together, and not all twins will, completely change. Some of them will. It doesn't mean they have to. And this could be not just lovers; it could be family members. It could be partners of any kind. Good friends that could trigger each other. And then usually the masculine has a harder time, but usually sometimes the masculine will eventually heal and will at least change. And that's what you hope to do. Even if like that person is never with you, you do hope that they will ascend and change for the better. Because that's what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But he went down that path and that was it. And I just went on mine to healing and kept like the new things that kept happening to me and the new gifts that were given to me and the new spiritual spiritual gifts, but the vibrational levels have changed too. And it's amazing what I've seen, what I've done, what I can do. But all of this has to be done for the collective good. It cannot be used in a negative way. So that's also very important to remember. When you're going through this process, you are really breaking down everything. Your ego, what you believe in, how faith has to come in. Like you're literally reconstructing yourself and then having to remake yourself. And it is a very difficult process. I also, I have other guys that are opening, that are light workers going through this process themselves. And sometimes I have to talk them off the ledge, like, because they're it's overwhelming. It is, I can't explain it. It is a trial by fire. It's a very difficult process. And a lot of people don't like to look within, but you are literally dismantling everything. And then, reforming. It is literally the phoenix. So
Wow.
it's been a really interesting experience, very interesting journey. The mission is this reality show is part of my mission. The tarot and all of this is part of the mission because it's again helping other people. It is part of what I'm supposed to be doing. And even the porn has been good too because how many other careers can you say that you've made people happy? Like they've enjoyed themselves with what you do.
Yeah. No, it's God. I don't think I'll ever figure out the answer to it. But I've always been fascinated by that. How if you take two people who went through some fucked up shit, and then one person ends up going down the wrong path and perpetuating the same bullshit or whatever,
Yeah.
and then on the flip side, you'll get someone like you who takes that negative and turns it into a positive. What the fuck makes this person go this way and this person go this way?
Yeah. Well,
I have no fucking
everyone has
clue.
free will. You all have free will. That's an absolute. The universe will keep challenging you. The thing is, there is karma associated with what you do. So if you can keep doing douchey things, that karma keeps coming back to you. The energy needs to go somewhere. And so the universe is trying to wake people up. It's trying, and that's why you will have, people lose their jobs, and it will get more severe. In other words, because the universe is trying to wake you up, and sometimes it gets very severe. But it's not the universe trying to be mean to you. It's like you have a contract here. Wake up. We're putting all this in front of you, but you're still not getting it. And that's unfortunately why it can get to some extremes, where people are out in the streets because of the drug use or whatever it may be. Those who pick themselves up and those who try to move forward will have a better time. When you start flowing with the universe and start doing what you're supposed to do, things get very easy. This trip down that I took down to South America, was kind of a finishing of a master class for me because it was really, I can't just talk about what I'm talking about now. I have to walk the walk. That's part of it. So I have to, what I'm telling you, I have to do myself. Like I have to do this. And it's part of being, having complete faith and understanding that you are on this path and that the universe has you. Yes, there will be things and challenges along the way. And that was what this trip was about too. There were things that happened that I was like, okay, I'm not worried about it. And then something would be redirected. It would be like, it actually worked out better than expected. Things like that. I mean, I had a very interesting experience too, because my guides kept telling me, it is a spiritual journey. It's a fact-finding mission too. It's a spiritual journey. And I was like, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it? They're like, no, 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 no. You'll know when you know. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, fine. So it was interesting. I got to Buenos Aires, and it was the first night there. I knew some guys that were staying there, also from Brazil. One's from Brazil, one's from Russia, and we're going to meet at this bar Thursday night at the bar. I said, okay, fine. I'll meet you there. And I decided to walk. It wasn't too far from my Airbnb. And I'm walking down, and I looked in the place, and they're not there. It's a very small bar, and so let me just walk down a bit further because there's cafes and everything else happening. I wanted to see, check out the neighborhood. And I'm still walking, and as I'm walking, this guy comes up to me, about my age, maybe a little bit older, and he starts speaking Spanish, and I'm like, hablas inglés, and he's like, oh yeah, so he's like, and then proceeds to tell me that the cactus that's a couple meters ahead of me has smooth leaves. The leaves are smooth on the cactus. Very odd conversation to have with somebody that you're just walking down the street. Like, okay. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, he's very smooth. And he's like, where are you from? I said, Los Angeles. And we had a little talk, but it was really about the cactus. Like, okay. So he goes that way. I'm going back forth. I actually literally touched the cactus. It's a prickly pear cactus. So when the young leaves are there, they're smooth. You can actually eat them. They cut them up like string beans. So it was smooth. It was young. And I walked past it and think of anything else of it. My friends text me, walked back to the bar. He's sitting outside. And I said, what was your name? I really forgot his name now. And I said, oh, it was really great meeting you. And I went back into the bar. Had a great time that night. 2 nights after, I'm laying in the bed, and I'm thinking to myself, he comes back up in my mind. And I was like, I knew I had to tell him something more. And it was about the mastery, about like the reality show, about telling when I meet people to really be able to tell them what I need to tell them. Like, there's no holding back anymore is what this is about. It was also about going with the flow and having complete faith on the trip. In other words, not worrying about anything, letting everything unfold, walking the walk. You know what I'm saying? And it was interesting because he was talking about no thorns, which means no obstacles. There's no obstacles left. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then I got through this download, and I was like, oh my god. I said, did this guy doesn't exist, does he? And they're like, no. In other words, he wasn't going back to a house. He didn't exist. If people saw me talking to him, they would still have seen him, but he wasn't there. He's not a person per se. And I was like, okay, there we go. Because if you talk to other light workers, we've experienced things like this. And I'm telling you, once you experience the things that we've experienced, there's no way of going back. Like you can't not know. Let's put it that way. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. So all of this was manufactured just for this particular thing to click in. And I was so excited and like vibrating. And after the eclipse happened, which was happening on Monday, it raised the vibration again. In other words, this is your master class. It's time now, like the reality show and everything else, to move forward, because it has to be, like I said, this has been a sequence of events having to grow, change over the time, and to get to these points. This doesn't happen overnight. This is a process, And so it's been crazy. It's been wonderful. It's a wonderful crazy. But yeah, I don't worry about anything. I'm just like, just things will happen as they need to happen, and keeping the vibration. You still have to do things. I'm not saying like you just wait back for everything happen. You still have to progressively do things. Like I have to go out and contact the producer. I have to do like still things, but it shouldn't be. It won't be like a struggle. And if something doesn't go right as you planned, it'll go over here or over here because this is a better. Or you may have to see something different, like look at the crystal in another way. So that's kind of what it is. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change what I went through for the world because, yeah, it's been amazing. Been absolutely amazing.
Interesting. How would okay if you were going to explain tarot like you were talking to a golden retriever, how would you summarize it?
Tarot is just here to really confirm, to clarify what people are already thinking. Like everyone has intuition. You already have it. But we get boggled down by the mind, like what kind of our desires and our hopes and everything else. But your intuition's already kicked in. We ignore it a lot. People will ignore it. Those red flags, things that they should do, they bury it, or they, in many different ways, they can bury it through drugs, alcohol, sex. They can also bury it just through their own mind games, through their own desires. So this is here to clarify what you probably already know. It will give enhancements as well because I can also see what people's intentions are. But you will probably already have that instinct to begin with. I've had people like, your boss is a douche. Like, no, no, he's a really good person. And then later the person's like, you know what? He is just kind of a douche. Yeah, you're right. I'm like, yeah, because you already know that. You want to try to believe the best in this person. But really, and the reality is, your intuition saying this guy's not on point. This person's a douche. And that's kind of, because we want to believe the best about someone, especially an empath. They want to believe the best about someone. But we get bogged down by everything else. So this is just to help clarify what you probably already know that's already there in your mindset.
Interesting. Okay. So would you say that all of those experiences you've had and everything is moving you closer towards your overall purpose?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like with the cactus and all
Yeah,
that?
it's part of my North Node, part of my mission here. This is absolutely all of it. It's funny because even though I even like look back part of my life of all the things that have happened and the journeys I've taken, I had to go through all of that because I had to experience and know and have empathy for somebody else who's going through it. Otherwise, I wouldn't know.
Mhm.
And because I've asked my guys, I'm like, every time do I have to do this? They're like, uh huh. And I get it because I wouldn't understand. I wouldn't understand your problems or what you're doing, what you're going through, unless I've gone through it myself. And also now have healed and have the process of understanding how to heal. I can also share that with you. Your healing is going to be different. Your journey is going to be different, but I can help give you tools towards that. You know, so I'm not. There is no such thing as a guru or anything. Follow me, blah blah. No, we can mentor, we can help, but you got to do the work yourself. There is no, and I hate the word guru because you get these people following somebody else, and they go, no, 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 honey, no codependency here. Don't be codependent on someone else. Start doing the work yourself. You know, it's like but you need to manage. And even therapy is great to a certain point, but if you're seeing the therapist for 10 years about the same problem, honey, you're not doing the work. You both got a codependency issue. He's got a codependency on your money. You got a codependency on him to like pretend that you're on the therapy and working on yourself. You're not. Not for 10
Uh-huh.
years, the same problem. Unless there's chemically brain something going on, you're not working on yourself. You're just not.
Unfortunately, I would bet money that's actually the norm.
Yeah, it's pretty much not because they just go to another codependency.
Damn. Okay. So, talk to me about your reality show.
Well, the reality show is basic idea of having a quadrant, which would be the person needs the help, whether they're going through a divorce or there's a death in the family, a job loss, whatever it may be that they're kind of working with, if you're just feeling haunted. So we would go in. I would go in first, and with the tarot and help them through tarot and sort of see what's going on, see where I can help them there, maybe through meditation, et cetera, et cetera. And we'd be filming this, and then my other three teammates who also do different things. So I have one who's nutrition and exercise. So again, all these people have had their spiritual awakenings. They're all in the spiritual realm. So he would come in and see if they need exercise, nutrition, help this person. Then my other, who's also a friend of mine, would come who's a Haitian voodoo, white voodoo, and again for cleansings or energy things like that that would have to be done for this person if it's needed. Then we have a Reiki healer who also again energy manipulation, healing, that all kind of same thing. So again, we would work in our different sectors and then also probably work together as well in the final stage of it to help this person move through and hopefully heal themselves. Like it's about healing themselves, not just us doing the work, but giving them the capacity to do that. And then that would be over. And then like later down the line, a few episodes, we'd also check on them to see how they're doing, and then like the next person. But this the person watching at home, the whole thought is also to give them these healing modalities as well. That you can do this at home as well. You know that you can change your life. You can through meditation, through believing and everything else. There's different things that we use. Each one of us has their own things, but to get people's life back on track. So that's kind of.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, only when you take personal responsibility can you change anything.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. First of all, you can stop being the victim. I hear it so many of these people these days: victim, 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 victim. You're not a victim. Stop it. It's just stop, 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 stop it. Like, you have choice.
And
Unless someone's got a gun to your head or locked in the basement, you have a choice.
yep. And not only that, but like being a victim has become like trendy.
Yeah, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Absolutely. So, where would you like to be 5, 10 years from now?
Where do I see myself 5 years from now? After we get this started, I think the next thing we get the series going, which I also wrote for myself on the piece. Because once you start doing something in this realm, more people are willing to work with you, on other things. So I see myself probably more acting along the way, definitely probably more mainstream. Always, again, still probably doing tarot and helping people in different ways. Maybe there's going to be seminars. I don't know how that's going to exactly transition, but I definitely see myself still in front of the camera, still like maybe, again, movies, television stuff, still doing this as well. Um, I think it's just, and it's also about enjoying life too. That's also one of the things, but it's going to be about continuously helping people, and hopefully helping them change and raise their vibration. That's the only thing that's here that we want is to help you raise your vibration. I'm not trying to sell you a catalog or a book or any particular icon, if you know what I mean. I'm not here to do that. I just want to see you raise your vibration. That's it. You heal yourself. That's the whole goal. There's nothing else to this. That's it. So
I like that.
very plain and simple. There's no book. There's nothing to recite. There's nothing. You know.
You're not trying to sell anything. Okay.
Yeah, there's none of this religious aspects to it. Let's put it that way. Because to me, religion is very restrained. First of all, was the first word that came to mind. It has a very, what do I want to say? I'm trying to think, not patterns, but God, I can't think of the word I want. It's just sort of very compact. It's like it has a set of rules and regulations, and that's what it is. It's very tight, compact, restricted, and it doesn't let people outside of that box, whichever particular religion it is. Don't get me wrong. There's truths in all religions, but most of religion is about control of the population, how people should think, how they should feel, and that's not right. So, and don't get me wrong, there's some aspect of religion I don't mind because it does give people sort of a guidance. I mean, like the Ten Commandments are a good set of rules to live by. It's basically don't fuck other people over. Basically, be nice. It's basically the essential order of the Ten Commandments. But it's like that's something you should already know. You know what I mean? And we're talking about, my spirit guides are like 75% of the population, of the world's population, is low vibrational. 75. That's a lot of people. And
I believe it.
as we continue with this ascension, the whole idea is to help people get into a better vibration, to raise their vibrations, to get them into a better place. And that will help society incredibly. But it's already happening. You see, everything's been turned upside down. Like everything that's being exposed, everybody needs to see it because it's part of the transition. And people get very fearful and worried about it. I'm like, just get the popcorn and watch the shit show. It unfold. It's don't worry about it. First of all, there's nothing you're going to be doing. You putting fear and like stress into it is not good. It's not helping you nor the planet because you're putting a low vibration out. Put up a higher vibration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed 100%. Um, let's see. Uh, let me see what questions.
I know some of the boys
Uh,
have questions to ask me.
yeah. Oh, okay. What is your favorite scene? This gentleman says it's with his favorite that you've done is with Freddie Miller.
Oh, really? That was done in London, if I'm not mistaken, with Freddie Miller. Freddie Miller is a good guy. That was fun. That was a fun scene. Is it my favorite scene? God, what's my favorite scene? So bad at this because I've done so many scenes that it's
Hmm.
like what is my favorite? Uh, I'm having a hard time. I'm trying to think. I'm going through like my mind's like I'm like, but which was the favorite? Like, which is the favorite? I mean, I'm so bad at this, guys. It's really bad. But what I enjoy about it, I think in the long ways, are just the scenes that are best for me is that when I'm really into the guy and we're just having a really good time, and I think that just shows. Um, there was a really good scene I had, and I can't remember the actor right now. This is really bad. There's so many boys, and I can see him in my mind. It was filmed here in Los Angeles. A lot of people put memes on it too. It's me getting fucked, and I can't think of his name. You're gonna kill me. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I cannot remember.
Uh,
There's been too many,
Trust me, we
too
all have those
many,
brain farts.
too many scenes. Um, because I've worked with so many great, good-looking guys. I have, and it's like, and I've had a ball with so many. I would say some of my favorite studios to work with were Raw Fuck Club and Treasure Island, just because they were easy to film with. Were not so scripted and not so like. I mean, I love the Icon Mail ones too for what they were because they do tell a story, but those are much longer days. They really are, and I had some good time with them doing it. But as far as like just raw fucking sex and having a good time, the others, just enjoying for sex sake purpose, sex sake. Say that 10 times fast. Sex sake.
I get it. Um, do you sing? I know he's a traditional artist, but what other talents do you have?
Besides sex, is what you're saying, right? I'm a very good cook, very good cook and baker. I can sew, finish furniture, obviously all kinds of art that I've done. I also did photography for many years too. I won another scholarship for that for in the summer, one summer, governor's scholarship. So that was fun. I do all of the things. Oh, the things I cannot do, I cannot really sing. That's a definite. I like dancing, but I'm not would say I was a dancer. I'm a really bad following choreography. Um, I've I mean, I've done karate, things like that. But I would say the things I can do with my hands mostly, and I mean, I don't mean sexually. It's the refinishing of furniture, the making of things, vacuum sealing. I used to do, pottery, photography, and when we did photography, we had to develop everything in dark rooms. So all of those things I really enjoy. Sometimes even making gifts for people, like just creating gifts. I used to create for my partner of 13 years when he had a show because he was an actor, stage actor. I would make like paper flowers, or I would make these like little things for him, each one different, that I would create for him as a gift. So yeah, I just
Mhm,
enjoy that.
mhm. How much longer do you plan to film, and are you growing tired of it all?
I knew that was going to be a question that was going to come up. Am I would love to transition today. I've been in it for quite a while, and don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed it, but I'm just ready for the new. Like I'm just ready for the new, and which we're working on, of course. But I think this transition will pretty much happen this year, hopefully, and that it will be done. I mean, there's certainly enough out there for people to watch for quite a while. But yeah, I'm just ready for the new. And it's not that I dislike the porn or having sex. It's just I've done it. Like it's time to move on to a new thing. So
Yeah, I get that. See, what is harder, having a long-term relationship with someone in the business or someone out of it, and why?
well, it seems that every time I have a relationship with someone who's not in it winds up in it. Like even my new boyfriend's talking about now. Of course, we're starting to film with him as well because even though he's a CPA, he's like there's going to be a transition there, and it's not that he's going to be doing porn forever, but it's a good transition. So that's really funny. I have the Midas touch, which usually means that I turn people apparently into porn people. I guess it's like apparently that's what I do. So yeah, the last relationship that I had when this was starting to turn, that was a 13-year relationship. We were already sleeping in separate beds and that. We were the best of friends, but that was, I wouldn't say it was a romantic relationship anymore at that point. So and I've had people that I've dated people that were not in the industry, and it's very tough on them because, you know, they want, I don't know, I guess more of an exclusivity. The funny thing is that a lot of them didn't have a problem with the porn, which you think they would because that's the more very public part of it. They would have more of a problem with the escorting behind the door,
Oh,
closed doors, which I thought was a little odd, but okay. Um, yeah, it's harder, I think, for people that are not in it to understand it. And then, though, when you do have people that are in it, like it's difficult in a little bit in that sense too, and you have to be very open and honest about the entire situation. It's like with the new boyfriend, we have talked about all of this stuff and keep bringing up stuff, new stuff that might happen, and that we're both very clear with each other. Like when I went down to South America, I told him I had sex with this guy, and he said, "Well, it kind of stung." I said, "Yeah, but you were blowing my friend too," and he told me about that, which I was like, "Okay, fine." And so it was like, "Okay," and I said, I don't. I want to be completely honest with you because I don't want to pretend this doesn't exist, you know. So I decided I did have a sex with a couple of guys down there, and when I came back up and when I was in his arms, I said, "Listen," I said, "I had sex with so and so, and this and this and this happened." And he's like, "Well, I thought you were." I said, "Yeah, but I wanted to tell you so that it's out in the open. But I wanted to tell you here in person so that you didn't feel weird about it or upset because remember this is a very new relationship too. Like we literally before I went to South America, I think we've known each other for 4 weeks, and I didn't want him to feel outsed by it. Like to know that I'm here for you, and it just totally made sense. So it's like it's one of those things that get clear communication. Like I don't want to hide anything from you. It shouldn't be that way. And he had his friend come over one night. I was down in South America. They had been out to SMD, and the he said, "Do you have time to FaceTime?" I said, "Sure." FaceTimes me. He's laying in bed, and his friend is blowing him. I said, "Point the camera over." I said, "Okay, hot. Yeah, that's good." And I told the boy, I said, "Show me your ass." Because I thought it was hot because I know where his heart lies with me. This is just extra icing on the cake. Enjoy yourself. I'm not there anyway, so enjoy yourself. I mean, I'd rather enjoy it with you, but we're in way too different, continents. So enjoy, have a good time. Send pictures, like I think it's hot. So yeah, we're actually gonna film tomorrow too. We have a boy that we're gonna be filming with, and so we'll see how this all goes.
nice. How much of the real you comes through in your work on screen?
I would say a good portion of it really does. It really does. If you ever had sex with me without a camera, I'm kind of vocal. Yeah, I'm vocal. It's just it is who I am. Um, Yeah, I'm just vocal. I'm loud. Sometimes try to lower it a bit because I know that trying not to like wake up neighbors or if the window's open and trying to settle a little bit. But it's very much me. It is very much me. Like when I said told you, there's still a sense of the camera being there. It has to be positioned differently because there's a camera there watching
Yeah.
you. But it is very much in that still in the same realm. Like if you're gonna have sex with me off camera, you're pretty much get the same thing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Um, what was it like working with Alan Silver, Rocco Steele, and Magic Mike Hung?
Okay. Alan Silver, great guy. Really, really, really love him. Him and I think still he's with his partner. I don't know. It's been a while since I've chatted with them. Great guy, very sweet. Had a good time with him. Rocco's first scene was with me. Treasure Island. First time he ever did it was a blowjob scene, me blowing him. Um, I always enjoyed. We did a couple other scenes after that. That time, after I'd done blowing him, it was in New York. Cutler and I were staying at the building, the hotel next door, and I said, "Come with me." And so they both fucked me, not together, unfortunately, didn't DP. But I have actually a picture of them laying side by side. But Rocco did never want me to post it because like I don't look good there because he always like about body conscious. I said, "Babe, you look good," and both of their big dicks are sitting there. I still have that photo today. But I told him I would not post it, so I'm not going to post it. But um, it's yeah, that was fun. So that was the first scene I did with him, and Rocco's a great guy, very sweet. Mike Hung, big dick, sweet man. I think the first time we filmed, he was a little up in his head about it because some people perceive, it's like this Adam Russo thing. You're Adam Russo, and I'm like, yeah. And it gets a little in their head with it, I think. So I think he was a little, I don't even want to say starstruck, but I guess a little bit starstruck, really. And he's a sweet guy. I think the scene could have been a little bit more engaged, but it was, I think he was a little overwhelmed. And I think we should probably film again and do it again to really make the most of it. So, but I haven't seen him in a while. But I'm sure we will film again. But he's got a really nice dick. They're all sweet guys. They're all sweet guys. They're all wonderful. Never had a problem with any of them. These are not people that none of them gossip, none of that bullshit. They're very easygoing, but they're also all older than say some of the younger 20, even 30-year olds. So that does make a difference. Sometimes age does make a bit of a difference. You
Yeah.
don't want too much drama in your life as you get older.
Well, I agree on the age 100%. Okay, do you have any plans to visit London?
Not at this time. I was just there for a client last month. Um, Not at this time. I love London. I used to go at least twice a year, and I will be back again, but I have no plans in the immediate future. So I think actually Mexico City will be the next place I go. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's far. Yeah, London for a client? What the fuck?
Yeah, he shipped me out there to be with him. So
Okay. Wow, that sounds expensive.
yeah, I mean, considering he flew me business class, which was nice, British Airways, and then spent about 5 days with him. I guess five nights, 5 days, something like that.
Holy shit.
And yeah, very sweet guy, very sweet guy,
Yeah.
very easygoing, and we had a good time. We didn't really do too much. I mean, it was just for the companionship mostly, and sweet man. We had a lot of good conversations, and yeah, so
Uh, Will you collab with Cutler X again?
I love Cutler, and I see him every once in a while at the gym. We still text and chat. He's still very much my friend. Will we collab again? I don't know. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. It's not that I don't find him attractive, nor does same with him. I just don't think it's going to happen. We're both moving in different ways and things, so probably not.
Uh, uh, can you ask him about the armory? Was it old times for him?
What does he mean? Is it old times? What does that mean exactly? Old times. Well, I mean, that did happen like, in the very beginning of my career, if that's what he means. Uh,
Yeah,
the
I'm
armory
guessing.
was interesting. I mean, I liked it to a certain extent. Again, it's very, fabricated. I mean, it really is. It's very much studio done. Um, so funny when I do watch S&M stuff, I watch other stuff that's not so manufactured. But they were the first company really to really bring that to the forefront, and it was good working for them. They were good to work for. And before, when I left San Francisco, they were wanting me to do more top scenes. They wanted because I know I was always bottom with them, and they wanted me to do top scenes, but they were wanting me to learn how to flog and blah blah blah. And I had already moved down to LA, and I was like, it kind of just separated, and I don't think I did any other things with them at that point. So, but it was an interesting experience, absolutely.
Okay. What do you prefer nowadays, top or bottom? Now that he's in his silver daddy era, he tops a lot, and he should know that I miss him bottoming.
The funny thing is, I bottom more in my own personal life. Well, the thing is, I get these boys, and of course, they want me to fuck them, and when we're doing this because it's just for fans and whatnot, it's about just going with the flow of the energy, like who the person, what happens, it happens. We're not here to. It's not a studio thing. You're gonna top, I'm gonna bottom. Like it's just whatever happens. Sometimes the guys will flip, which is great, or sometimes I do get fucked. I mean, I love getting fucked. But a lot of the times I wind up fucking. Like today, I think this boy's verse, but I'll probably wind up fucking it. Like that'll probably be the essential part of it. I'll take control and be daddy. That's most likely what's gonna happen.
I mean, to be fair, you do have like a very iconic daddy look. You're basically like a Jack bald Sean Connery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it works. It works for this whole thing, and I don't get me wrong, I enjoy it, and even in my personal life, I still like to fuck. But most of the time, I will be bottoming because I just enjoy it more so. But when I am taking control, I do again. How much of that comes out to really who I am? Oh yeah, yeah, that's very much me. Like yeah, I will take care of a boy if you know what I mean. Yeah,
I do.
or they let me go with that, the rougher I go will be. So it's like
Uh-huh.
it just depends.
And you bottoming makes you a better top, and you topping makes you a better bottom.
Yeah, because it's really important to know both. You know,
Yep. Okay, who was your first boyfriend and when?
my first boyfriend. That would be when I remember I told you I moved out of my mom's place and went down to my father. I had a boyfriend. I'm trying to remember his name. I can't remember. He looked more like a rocker, white boy. Nice dick. Yeah, nice dick. We never fucked. It was just oral. Because remember, AIDS changed everything for me, and I'm glad I came out when I did. If I had come out earlier, I may not be here sitting in front of you right now. I'm a very sexual person. So he was my age as far as boyfriend. He was the first boyfriend I had, and I was kind of like just smitten with him. I mean, it was puppy love, but very much a white boy, longer hair, brown hair, lean. Yeah, nice dick. I mean, I don't even remember where the fuck we met either. I think we met out probably at the bars or something in Philadelphia. I remember him. I remember inviting him to my father's house, and we're there in the living room. He's sitting in the chair behind me, and I'm between his legs, like not watching the TV, but between like this is not straight guys don't do that. You know, you knew that. Like, and I'm sitting between his legs, and my stepmother walks in, who is, by the way, 3 years older than me, or she was my stepmother, 3 years older than me. Walks in, and she looks at me, and she looks at the scene a little oddly because, like, straight boys don't do this. Like we don't like you don't sit in front. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. And I kind of knew what she was already thinking, but I was like, well, who cares? I had them confused too because I also had girlfriends. Not that I was having sex with them, but I had girlfriends, and so they were a little confused in what I was doing, or happening.
At what point did you say, "Fuck it, I'm gay"?
Oh, I knew I was gay since I was around 15 years old, but I guess having that first boyfriend was kind of like the fuck it because again, I was there sitting between his legs, and I was like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So kind of that, and I guess I was 18, 19, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Um, let's see. What is your favorite sexual fantasy?
My favorite sexual fantasy. Oh man. Yeah. This goes both ways. If I'm topping, it's really controlling a boy and really again with not just control. It's not just about being hard with this boy, like maybe slapping or being more aggressive, but it's also there's passion there too with it. Like I like the combination because when you give that passion, the boy is like pretty much willing to do whatever you want. It's like they'll go even further, they'll push themselves further. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, if I'm subbing and bottoming, I love the same thing to happen to me, where guys to control me, where he's like smacking my balls and like punching my chest and fucking and like very much like down on your knees kind of thing, and I'm like, okay, sir, yes, sir. So yeah, extremes, extremes.
Okay. Is it difficult to go from one end of the pendulum to the other?
No, not for me. It's not. It's very easy.
Okay. Is there anything you haven't done yet that you still want to do?
In public? Oh, you mean for the public? No. Actually, no. There really isn't. I think I can think of that. What I haven't done sexually and whatnot. Nothing's particularly coming to mind. It's just, and also too, it's like sex. Just you keep exploring it, like things keep changing. I mean, what I do now or what I become, I didn't do years ago. Like it's ever evolving. I've even been fisted. Not only fisted, but fisted and fisted, and I enjoy that as well. So I haven't been fisted in a while, but so it would be difficult, for someone to really get in my ass right now. But yeah, I enjoy all aspects of it. That's the only thing I would say with the fisting. It's hard if I'm going to be a fisting bottom. It's hard for me then to fist you as well. Like it's for me in that realm, it's one or the other because I need to take an edible to really relax me. So I'm not going to be in top mode. I'm going to be like,
Okay.
that's the only time. Otherwise, I can switch back and forth. With a breeze, with easy breezy. But it's funny because I've had guys like, oh, I'm a dom top, and I'm like, they're there, and I'm like, no, you're not. And then wind up dominating them. So be careful what you ask for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I asked these next two questions to everyone. Pretty sure I know the answer to the first one, and because you're versatile, so answer for both ends of the pendulum. If you could have sex in only two positions for the rest of your life, what would they be and why?
So if I had two positions and why, the funny thing is, I was just getting fucked the other day by my boyfriend, and I was like, and he really loves missionary, and so do I, because we can see each other's expressions, which is one of my favorite. And also, when you're fucking a guy in mission, at least with my dick, I can get to the guy where I can get him to anal orgasm over and over again, and I love that. I love seeing his expression. So missionary would definitely be one of the ones that I have to go with. And I love doggy. I love the sense of this like as a sub and like just like getting just being taken like and because there's a you're not as connected like when I'm seeing the guy I'm more connected eyes and whatnot when he's behind me I'm just like you feel more of a like a slut bottom kind of thing just like pound my hole kind of thing because at this point it could be anybody back there. So
Uh-huh.
I think the doggy would be definitely the other one. Um, yeah, yeah, I think that would be it. And it's just something hot about it. And also when I'm fucking a boy that way too, and just like putting his head down, his ass up. And funny too, not everybody knows how to fuck doggy either, because you get some boys trying to push weirdly back at you. I'm like, dude, first of all, my dick's here. You need to be here because I need to get in you. It's like you get people pushing. You get weird. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You're
Like
like,
go up, go down. I'm not.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me control. And then just sort of, but then because sometimes they're not used to getting a certain size dick, and they're kind of like moving forward or trying to move to a position where it may not. And this is also the thing about a good top is like, especially if you're a big dick, and this is listen to people if you're a top and you're listening, you got a big dick, put it in the guy, get it all the way in there, and sit there for a few seconds. Let his insides rearrange around your dick. Then you can start fucking him. Like everything needs to open up, sweethearts. It needs to open up first, okay? Just remember that. Trust me, it'll go a long way.
Agreed. 100%. Okay. All right. And then thinking about your life, everything you've done, everything you've experienced, seen, heard, all of it. If you had to summarize all of that stuff into one piece of advice to the people watching, what would it be?
For the porn, you mean, or just in life in general?
Life in general.
Oh, Jesus, that's a tough one. um, I would say, I think the best advice to give is live your own life, be true to who you are, and just treat people like that you want them to treat you. That would be, I think, the best way to go with everything I've learned. Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, that would be it.
Okay. So, for anyone who's watching this who's been living under a rock and doesn't follow you on social media, where can they find you on Twitter, Instagram, all the fan sites, everything you want to plug?
All right. So at Twitter, I'm Adam Russo triple X, and on there will be my Just for Fans, which again is it's still Adam Russo triple X, and the same thing with my For My Fans, my Dark Fans. So all these are different fan sites. I'm not on OnlyFans, just so you know. And for my Instagram is that's my tarot and my acting. So that is I am Adam Keith, and that will be that. And it is 11/11.
Why don't you have OnlyFans?
We had a big argument basically. That whole like gaping hole, and you have poppers on the side, but nobody's using them. Like their aroma.
Yeah.
So, and
Yep.
I had the videos already up, and I said, just tell me which ones to take out or not. It's and I was because they were already scheduled, and I'm like, they didn't like that. So,
Oh, trust me. Yep.
yeah,
I've had over 150 videos taken down.
yeah. It's they, and I told them this. I said, listen, I said, you're a $multi-million corporation. I said, if there's a problem and you're telling me that this is all illegal because you're in the UK, move your servers to Amsterdam. Wouldn't that make sense? And then you can still have an office in London. But they didn't want to hear that because that was the logical approach. It's not about that, sir. It's all about they don't want particular things. They were also they were trying to sell the company, become the next YouTube, and that didn't happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bunch of bull.
I'm sure I honestly don't think I've had a performer on this show who doesn't fucking hate OnlyFans. We all hate it. We just can't afford to leave it, unfortunately.
Well, just be careful. I don't know. They keep getting themselves more and more hot and water. So hopefully it doesn't go down as well. It probably will go down the tubes. But there's other avenues.
Yeah.
If that closes, Just for Fans will make it really big then.
Yep. Well, I mean, their latest thing now is cream pies. So, like, if I were to come inside
Oh
you,
my God, are you kidding?
and then even if the camera were to catch the cum coming out, they'll pull it.
Now, is this
That's the newest
just
one.
for men, or is this also for women?
I don't know.
Good question, right? I'm sure that's okay if a woman's getting fucked and there's cum coming out of her pussy, right? Yeah, I bet. I bet it's just for guys.
Motherfucker. God damn it. I guarantee you're right. I guarantee it.
Probably, I would assume because that, yeah, I bet you anything. Yeah,
Shit. Okay, I'm gonna look into that.
look into it. Let me know.
Okay. All right. Well, Adam, thank you for doing this. I truly appreciate it. And this time the recording's good. There's been no lag, so we should be golden.
It should be good,
Um,
yes.
hey guys, just want to say thank you for watching this video. And if you did really enjoy it, I just wanted to mention there are two ways that you can help to support this channel. On the right side, there are three little dots. If you click those, there is a super thanks button. And on the left hand side, there is a join button where you can join this channel. There are three different tiers of memberships. The top tier does actually allow one-on-one messaging with me via Discord, and I personally answer that. It is not a service. That's just, both of those are ways that you can help support me as a content creator in this channel. I mention this because YouTube is by far the thing that I enjoy doing the most. It's the thing I'm most passionate about. And unfortunately, a lot of the sexual videos, the porn star confessions, the Dom sub, all that stuff, it is not monetized due to the nature of the videos. But either way, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I hope you guys all have an absolutely amazing week. I love you all.